Welcome to Mile High Report Radio Horse Tracks. And now, here's what's happening in Broncos country.
What's up, everyone? Happy Victory Monday for the fifth and last time of the 2022-2023 Broncos season. We're able to enjoy this. We're able to embrace in the warmth and in the fun and in the joy that is a Victory Monday. And this is probably going to be the best win that the Broncos saw all year. This is the best feeling that the Broncos have felt all year. Even with the defense giving 28 points, it still feels like the best overall team performance that the Broncos have put up all season long. And apparently all it took was a new field, because I'm sure that solves everyone's problems. Shout out to the Waltons, shout out to Walmart, where their idea is throw enough money at something and it will be fixed. When it comes to the field, that's the case. When it comes to the next Broncos head coach, that also might be the case. I got some news for you guys today, a little bit near the end of the show. But thank you guys so much. I'm Ross. It is Horse Tracks. It is Monday, January 9th. What better way to start this week than by talking about the Broncos, and especially offensively looking great against a Chargers team that played their starters for most of the game and still lost. Let's go. The only team in the division that the Broncos have had success in, success. Yes. Gosh, why couldn't I say that word? Sussex. That's like a Great Britain thing, right? But we play real football here. And especially the Broncos play real football because one of their only 5 wins came in London. Man, what a year. But what I was going off of that one is that the Broncos saw success, man. And it was great. It felt good. It felt really good. And especially offensively, man. This is the best the Broncos have looked all year long. Easily. Man, the last couple games where they ditched Hackett, that's 3 games now. It just felt different. It just felt so much better. And man, there's a lot of positivity that we could and should be feeling right now. But like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning to this edition of Horse Tracks. It's time for us to get on with the show. But before we do that, you can find all of our awesome content over at milehighreport.com. Tons of awesome articles daily. Even with the off season, at least for us Broncos fans coming up, you still expect to see plenty of content. Man, I can't believe that the season is already over. Of course, you can find this podcast and all of our other podcasts on pretty much any platform out there, whatever platform you're listening to on. If you haven't followed us yet, go ahead and do so. You're going to do yourself, but let's be honest, mostly us, a favor here. So thank you guys so much for. You can also find us on social medias: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mile High Report. Of course, I would say maybe a little biased here, but especially check us out on Instagram because, you know, yours truly runs that bad boy. So make sure to check that one out along with everything else. But with that being said, let's get into today's game recap, because one of the funnest things to talk about here. So going into, at least after that touchdown that came in a little bit into the third quarter, the Broncos have as many touchdowns in the first 6 quarters under Jerry Jeudy as they did in Nathaniel Hackett's first 5 games as head coach. That was 6 touchdowns. This is great. This is really, really great. Hackett, he was, I'm not saying, like, I'll reply to, like, my response to some of your comments, whether it be on my articles on milehighreport.com or on Instagram. Hackett was not the problem, but he was absolutely the biggest problem. And more specifically about this game, man, it was fun to watch this game. It's been, admittedly, I'll be honest with you guys, it's been a while since I fully sat down and didn't just watch the Broncos on Red Zone when they actually showed them, which is rare, but actually watched the full game. Just took so much time to do that. Of course, it's hard sometimes with church and life. I'm sure people around the world, we get that, but it's the last game of the season. I got to sit down and just enjoy the crap out of this game. And one of the funnest things to watch was Russell Wilson slinging that ball. Let Russ cook. and he cooked this game. My word, this was awesome. Especially, up until that point, the Broncos had a really, really solid opening drive on offense, responded to the Chargers taking the ball down the field and scoring on the first drive of the game. The Broncos respond with a really solid drive of their own, but kind of what we saw against the Raiders game, with a kind of similar to when Nathaniel Hackett gave up playing calling for the first time this season and gave it to Clint Kubiak. That was against the Raiders, and the second time they played in the season was 5-6 weeks ago, and the Broncos had a opening drive touchdown, and then that was about it for that game. And that's one of the things that kind of happened here. They had that opening drive touchdown, and then they really tapered off and didn't really pick things up until 2 minutes left to go in the first half. And by then, Russell Wilson was throwing for, I believe it was like 2 for 9 with 17 yards passing. But what does he do? He dials up a 3-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. That's what he does. One that finished off with a touchdown pass to Eric Tomlinson. I believe that was Eric's second receiving touchdown of the season. Oh, man, that was just such a good drive. And that was a drive that featured first Latavius Murray getting a good chunk yard play. Don't worry. I'll get to Latavius Murray in a second, too. I'm sure you guys can hear my excitement about him. I'm saying, resign Latavius Murray, please and thank you. Along with Alex Singleton, too. Resign both of them. Please, 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 please. So we had that good chunk play. And then that second play, it was, man, was it? I think the Broncos in this was still in the first half, but I think total the Broncos had like 3 or 4 passes of over 50 yards, which is pretty dang astounding considering what we've seen all season long. But it was, it was a 57-yard pass. Russell Wilson, feeling the pressure, rolls left, sees Jerry Jeudy at the boundary. On the run, he throws a dot to Jerry Jeudy to put them right in prime touchdown range. Finishes off the next play. The Broncos convert on goal-to-go situation. Yes, just everything about that drive was what we've been lacking all season long. It was so great. It was so great. That was Russell Wilson's best throw of the entire season. Absolutely it was. And that is proof, among other things, of why Russell Wilson and why you should be excited as a Broncos fan to watch and see what Russell Wilson can do next year with a competent coaching staff. And we'll get to that because the Broncos might have their pick of the 2 top coaching candidates on the entire coaching search for any team right now, and that is insanely exciting. All right, it might sound like you guys, to be fair, it might sound like I'm getting worked up with this really bad sense of like just over optimism, maybe like what we had before this season. But you know what? If I'm wrong again, it is what it is. I just love feeling this way. Over the game, Russell Wilson finished about a little over 50% completion percentage, but that was a 2-2. He started off like he went 2 for 9 to start things out. Then he went for like 6 for 6 or like 8 for 8 his next passes. He really picked things up starting that 2-minute drive. All right, he finishes with that 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a late interception that really was not his fault. I'm not going to put that one on him. He was putting out dots, whether it be that pass to Eric Tomlinson was a dot, and then that last touchdown of the game where they scored with Courtland Sutton, that was a good pass by Russell Wilson, of course. I don't know if he would complete that. We remember Russell Wilson beginning the season and through most of the season missing wide open guys, especially a guy like, we remember him missing KJ Hamler wide open in the end zone, would beat the Colts, but Russell Wilson didn't miss him this time, but also dialed up to solid play calling and offensive scheme there as well. So he has that, and it was also that touchdown, touchdown pass to Tyler Beatty. That was a fun little pass. Beatty making the most of his first ever NFL game. Good for him. That was awesome. It's just Russell Wilson spraying the love on that one. He looked great on his rollout passes. Just need more of that, please. That's all we've been wanting. And I'm sure whoever that Jim Harbaugh or Sean Payton bring in as their offensive coordinator, they'll be better than Justin Alden. But at the same time, I will say, especially these last couple games, maybe last 3 games without Hackett, Justin Alden, the offensive coordinator for the Broncos, I think he saved himself. I think he's redeemed himself. And I think he's shown that it was Nathaniel Hackett's hand that ruined the offense. Alden, I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I think remember, like, this whole staff, like, first timers. So I think Alden could still be a good offensive coordinator, if not better than good, in this league. So I don't think that the next coach will keep him on staff. I really think, like, the only staffer that the Broncos have that would stay with a new coach would be Evero. But I think Justin Alden, he got himself another job, and I don't think he's going to be demoted. He's probably going to be brought in with another team because his last few weeks is a great argument there. So best of luck to him, because I really do believe it was Hackett getting in his way. In this game too, the Broncos better on third down. They had third down runs of 23 and 25 yards, which was awesome. They were 5 for 12 on third down. While that might not sound amazing, 42% is actually around league average of third down completion percentage. So anytime the Broncos are around league average in anything offensively, especially this season, I think that's pretty dang good. That's one of their best conversion percentages of the season on third down, if not the best. Admittedly, I really didn't feel like looking through every game to double check, because I'm pretty dang sure that this was the best. Also, it's a very educated guess because they've been absolutely horrible and lucky to break the 30% the entire season. So I'll be willing to take my chances. If you guys have a correction for me, let me know. I would love to see it. Like honestly, great. And then Latavius Murray, I'm going to bring him up like I said I would. He more than proved this year that he should be re-signed this offseason. He's a 32-year-old man. In days, he will be 33. And he put up 15 carries for 103 yards, almost 7 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Long run of 25. He put up a couple rushes of 20 yards. He is outrunning Father Time right now. Now, of course, he maybe like LeBron, he could look a little bit different next year, but he's looked great. I mean, look where the Broncos took him. The Broncos they essentially just needed a warm body in that backfield with all the injuries. They go to the Saints practice squad, pick up Latavius Murray, and like I don't know what it was with him, because the Broncos sucked. They weren't going to contend, but yet Latavius Murray still put so much effort in for the Broncos. So much effort. And he had a fantastic year. I really do think, I mean, the Broncos gave his time for cheap. It'll be okay. It's time to back up Javonte Williams, because he's a power back. He seems like a guy you could just hand the ball, workhorse kind of guy. But we're seeing him make plays on finesse style plays. Screens, tosses. He's making things happen in open space. He has speed. He has burst better than some of the youngest running backs in the league. It's insane what he's doing. I need him back. I really do. And I see from your guys' like responses on Instagram and some of the articles, you guys, for the majority of you, grand majority, you want him back as well, which is good choice on your part. Of course, it would be impossible to talk about this game without saying the 2 words of Jerry. I'm gonna throw in a third. Jerry freaking Jeudy, man. He absolutely has to be the Broncos wide receiver 1 moving forward in this game. 6 targets, 5 receptions, 154 yards with that long of 57. He fell just 28 yards short of 1,000 on the year. So safe to say that this was a breakout year. Jerry Jeudy even had issues at the beginning of the season. Maybe some route running stuff, or maybe some drops. Guys talking about him. Shannon Sharp talking about him. But no, he comes back and he finished off this season so strong. It kind of helped. To be honest, it helped that Cortland Sutton went out injured, and the Broncos had to have Jerry Jeudy as wide receiver 1 for a stretch of these games. He's that man. This is a wide receiver taken from Alabama that we're all hoping that he could and should be. He's looking great right now. And I'm not going to say that necessarily Sutton took a step back. It feels like he just isn't the guy. And I can't really hold anything against him, especially considering everything that was going on this year. But let's just think about this. Next year's wide receiver room, healthy, of course, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Greg Dulcich, KJ Hamler. Now, if you ask me, that is pretty dang good. I am really excited to see what this offense can look like next year. Really, the only question that they have right now is on the offensive line. And although that might be the only question, it is a ginormous question. They're going to have to sign some tackles this year in free agency, and they're going to have to draft some guards and centers. I think, honestly, like, Quinn Miners might be like the only guy that they should really keep out there. Maybe Graham Glasgow, maybe, but Quinn Miners is like one of the only good and consistent blockers they have that's above average. Everyone else, man, they're replaceable, and they probably should be. So that's the question asked. But wide receiver core, running back core, quarterback, all solid, almost great. Javonte Williams. Oh, I'm so excited that Javonte Williams is back. He is so good. I think we might have forgot how good Javonte Williams, how good Tim Patrick were. Next year is going to be fun. Next year is going to be fun. And if it's not, well, I'd rather be optimistic about it because it is what it is. But some of the numbers from the game, like we do this always, 3 numbers that best represent this game. First, of course, starting us off, number 3. Gotta shout out Damar Hamlin, man. Come on. This is what football's all about. Good for Damar Hamlin. God bless that guy. It's so great seeing what he's doing. It's so great seeing what the league did around, what everyone around the league did for him. So let's not talk about the Bills. The first play since that incident, they take a kickoff all the way to the house, man. Don't tell me sports aren't romantic. Don't tell me football isn't romantic. That's amazing. Prayer works, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta remind you of that. But also 3 is representative of the amount of playoff teams that the Broncos beat this year. Now say it with me in order. The 49ers in one of the ugliest games I have ever seen in my life. The Jags is when the Broncos started to feel good again. And the Los Angeles Chargers. Look at that. Most of Denver's wins came against playoff teams. More proof that there is potential, that there are the bones for a good team right here. We've seen a coaching staff that knows what the heck they're doing. And this team is a playoff team. Next number, 31. Of course, got to give a big shout out to Justin Simmons. 2 forced fumbles in this game. Man, I really hope he stays in Denver. We'll see if the Broncos want to trade him or not. I hope not, man. But more than that, this is the points scored in this game, of course. That's the most points that Denver has put up all year. The previous high was 28, and that was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Last number of the game is maybe not from the game itself, but it pretty much surrounds us. Yep. Third number here, 100 million. The amount of dollars that the Waltons are going to pay Jim Harbaugh to coach next year. They'll be so much better. Like I said, all of the keys are there. The defensive back core is there. You want to talk about something? Let's talk about the Broncos with the young guys starting to come through. Jaquan McMillan, excuse me. He looked good. He looked good. Of course, we have Pat Surtain. Of course, we have him. And other guys coming along. I mean, of course, we have Kareem Jackson, he says he wants to play for another year, maybe 2 to 3. He wants to do that with the Broncos. Let's talk about Damari Mathis. Man, talk about a comeback player. He looked a little bit rough at the beginning of the season, but now he's coming back. He looked great to finish off the year, man. PJ Locke looked good. All right. So there is some good stuff here, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. The linebacker core there, Josie Jewell. We all know he's great. Then we have Alex Singleton, tackling machine, brought in off the free agency. Re-sign him. That is a good 2 middle linebackers right there. The edge rushers can be improved. The pass rushing is decent. Randy Gregory, when healthy, is going to be nice. And, well, I mean, the games he was healthy, he looked worth that contract, the big contract that the Broncos signed him to. But when it comes to setting the edge on running plays, these young guys just need to find a little bit better way to get it done, especially, remember, Baron Browning. Good year from him. It's going to be nice to see. The wide receivers, tight ends, like I mentioned earlier, they're there. The quarterback is there. The running backs are there. The O-line, not there, needs to be improved, for sure. All I can talk about from this, it's optimism. It's optimism. It's optimism. It's going to be good. Broncos country, we're going to ride in 2023. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about the Broncos team next year. This offseason is going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good time to be a Broncos fan. All right? That's just my message of optimism to all of you. Now, moving away from the game, let's just talk about some coaching news before we finish things up. The Broncos coaching search is taking some new news as of Sunday. So the Broncos are sent to meet virtually with Jim Harbaugh this week. It looks like there's going to be some good talks with him. The Broncos are set to interview Evero for the head coaching spot. He's one of the top candidates. He's top 3 along with Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton, of course. I guess maybe top 4 with Dan Campbell, but not Dan. I wish it was Dan Campbell, but no, Coach Quinn. Man, I just got the Lions on my mind today, apparently. And Sean Payton has confirmed that he has spoken to Denver about the head coaching position. And more good news is that Denver and New Orleans are reportedly on the same page in terms of compensation. Of course, because Sean Payton retired, the Saints, per rules and per the contract, still have rights over Sean Payton's contract. So Denver they can't just trade money. They have to trade compensatory picks to the Saints for the rights to Payton. What it seems like is that the first rounder is on the table, or at least something of value as a first round. So of course, as you remember from the Bradley Chubb trade, from how much money Bradley Chubb was signed to and then how little he performed the back half of the season and probably the playoffs too. I don't want to sound like I'm sliding Bradley Chubb. I really enjoyed him with Denver. Really did. But just from a business standpoint, that trade really worked out well for the Broncos. But the Broncos, of course, hold the 49ers first round pick, probably going to be about the 31st spot. So it's going to be a late first round pick. And even that, the Saints still might be okay with. And I would much rather prefer the Broncos trade that than a guy like Justin Simmons, who is a guy that is rumored to be possibly on the trade block. There's some conversations going around about that. And he is a first-round pick kind of guy. Much rather hold on to Justin Simmons, trade away that first-round pick. I like known commodities. Justin Simmons, fantastic known commodity, not just for the locker room, not just on the field, but also for the community. I want to keep him there in Denver as long as possible. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this edition of Horse Tracks. It's been a heck of a regular season. This is going to be my last Horse Tracks of the regular season, but it's time to get on to the offseason, so I will be back on Thursday, so don't you worry. And if you don't like me or my voice or the podcast I put out, well, sorry. You can just choose not to listen to me, I guess, but I'll be here all off season. Don't you worry. And for those that do actually like putting up with me and like my articles and the Instagram and stuff like that, thank you guys so much. It's been a blast. Thank you for this awesome season. I can't believe it's been a full season of me being on the Mile High Report staff. It's been good. You guys have been good to me. I really, really do appreciate you, not only for what you've done for me, but what you've done for this podcasting network itself over at Mile High Report. Make us one of the most listened to football podcasts in the entire league. It's awesome. It's so cool to see our name up there. You guys are the reason why we're ranked that high. But of course, if you haven't hit that follow button on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on, go ahead, do so now. And you can check out everything, tons of awesome articles over at milehighreport.com. On Tuesday, you'll see my playoff power rankings. Then over later in the week, Thursday, Friday, you'll also have my fan overreactions for the week. Following week, I'm going to do a season overreaction there as well. We'll get into the offseason. I'll have tons of stuff for you guys. Go ahead and follow us on social media at Mile High Report, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great year. You guys are awesome. Keep chugging. There's just goodness in the air. Love you guys. You'll hear my voice next time.
Broncos country, it wasn't pretty. No, the season was a tough one, but man, what a way to end it. A conference win at home.